Today I'm joined by leaders of the House and the Senate from both political parties to show our unity of purpose in confronting a gathering threat to the security of America and to the future of peace.
I'd like to thank the President for his leadership in addressing a challenge that many of us believe should have been addressed at least 4 years ago.
On a bipartisan basis, I believe that there will be strong support for an expression of congressional approval for the President to take whatever action necessary for a regime change in Iraq, and I support him.
The President, I believe, deserves a vote on the part of the Congress of the United States before we go out of session.
By voting to give the President the authority to wage war, we assume and share his responsibility for the war's outcome. Others have neither that burden nor that privilege. We have a choice. The men and women who wear the uniform of our country and who might lose their lives in service to our cause do not.
I think the President has embarked on a well-planned effort to rid the world and this country of the threat of the use of weapons of mass destruction.
The burden is not on America to justify going to war. The burden is Saddam Hussein's. Giving peace a chance only gives Saddam Hussein more time to prepare for war.
I think that the administration will brief exactly on what we plan on post-Saddam Hussein regime and any other question that may be raised. That's why we'd have hearings in the Foreign Relations Committee and the Armed Services Committee. No one's ducking those questions. I am very certain that this military engagement will not be very difficult.
The success will be fairly easy. We can win an overwhelming victory in a very short period of time.
It's a safe assumption that Iraqis will be grateful to whoever is responsible for securing their freedom.
I don't think it's going to be nearly as difficult as some assume.
Over the last year, Senator Obama and I were part of a great debate about the war in Iraq. Both of us agreed that the Bush administration had pursued a failed policy.
I was the greatest critic of the initial 4 years, 3.5 years. We've had a failed strategy which I bitterly disagreed with for more than 3 years.
I strongly disagreed with the Bush administration's mismanagement of the war in Iraq.
I've said many times that I believe the progress of the war is more than satisfactory.
I'd say that it's certainly a successful operation.
A major conflict is over. There's no doubt in my mind, once these people are gone, that we will be welcomed as liberators.
Are you proud of the work and the leadership of the Commander-in-Chief in this war?
Yes, I am. I think the President has led with great clarity, and I think he's done a great job leading the country. In recent days, the President's very strong statements about how this is a very tough struggle is very appropriate, talking to the American people about how difficult it is going to be. We are winning in Iraq. Things are going very well in the North and in the South.
Taxpayers should feel better about the use of their dollars that have been spent on defense all these years.
Only the most deluded of us could doubt the necessity of this war. Like all wars, this one will have its ups and downs. But we must fight. We must. There is no avoiding this war. We're not yet safe. We are still closer to the beginning than the end of this fight. I believe as strongly today as ever the mission was necessary, achievable, and noble. For his determination to undertake it and for his unflagging resolve to see it through to a just end, President Bush deserves not only our support, but our admiration. He has been tested and has risen to the most important challenge of our time, and I salute him. I commend to my country the re-election of President Bush and the steady, experienced, public-spirited man who serves as our Vice President, Dick Cheney. Keep that faith. Keep your courage. Stick together. Stay strong. Do not yield. Do not flinch. Stand up. Stand up with our president and fight.
On the transcendent issues, the most important issues of our day, I have been totally in agreement and support of President Bush. And I'm particularly talking about the war on terror, the war in Iraq.
It's going to be tens of billions. Let's get about funding it.
Do you think that's a wise investment for the American people? Tens of billions of dollars. That's the figure from Paul Bremer, the Iraqi civilian administrator. Tens of billions of dollars.
I think it's a wise investment.
He gave a very good speech laying out the challenges in Iraq.
We've seen a number of signs of progress, including that of the capabilities of the Iraqi military.
We've got to stay the course, and speeches like the President's last night, I think, are important.
I respect and admire Secretary Rumsfeld.
Are you satisfied with the message President Bush delivered tonight and the way in which he delivered it?
I am.
Given the benefit of hindsight, would you go into Iraq again? Would you do what we did a year ago? You would.
I remain convinced.
And the benefits of success throughout the region are already being felt.
Do you have confidence in the President and his national security team to lead the war at this stage?
I do. I do. I have confidence in the President, and I believe that he is well aware of the severity of the situation.
And what we can do and what we are doing, and we're making progress. We are making progress. The President's recent speeches, in my view, have laid out in the most articulate fashion what we need to do and what our challenges are and what the American people can expect in Iraq.
The trip that we just made to Iraq, and we're pleased at the progress that the military is making. The Iraqi military is doing a much better job. They are taking on a lot of the responsibilities. The President is obviously committed to staying the course. I happen to support him on that, and I appreciate the candor that he's been displaying in his speeches and town hall meetings.
Do you now have a better estimate of when American forces can come home from Iraq?
No, but that's not too important.
I think that there's no doubt that we may require troops there for a long period of time, We clear and hold and build, not clear and leave.
President Bush has talked about our staying in Iraq for 50 years.
Maybe 100.
I want to know, how long are we going to be there?
How long do you want us to be in South Korea? How long do you want us to be in Bosnia?
There's no fighting going on in South Korea. Let's not talk about South Korea. Let's come back to Iraq.
The option of setting a date for withdrawal is a date for surrender.
I will never let that happen as President of the United States. I will never surrender in Iraq. I will not let that happen.
If the Iraqi government were to say, if you were president, we want a timetable for troops being removed, would you agree to that?
I've been there too many times. I've met too many times with them, and I know what they want.
But if the duly elected people's bodies, the U.S. Congress and the Iraqi Parliament, say they want a troop withdrawal, that's more than a poll.
Well,
isn't that the voice of the people?
As far as the Iraqi Parliament is concerned, the Iraqi government obviously doesn't feel that way. They're the representatives in their government.
Would you be in favor of a referendum amongst the Iraqi people to make a decision as to whether U.S. troops should stay or leave?
No more than I would have a referendum in the United States of America.
We've talked about the majority of Americans wanting out of Iraq at this point. I wonder, at what point do you stop doing what you think is right and you start doing what the majority of the American people want?
Well, again, I disagree with what the majority of the American people want.
So do we leave the region?
I don't see how we can.